Listen up, because what Cardi B just did this morning is going to shatter the entire Stefon Diggs case wide open, and I promise you, by the time you finish watching this, you are going to be sitting in complete shock. She did not wake up and pick a soft brunch fight. Cardi B woke up, opened her phone, saw the headlines, and launched a full nuclear strike at Chris Blake Griffith on a live feed, and the words she used were so heavy, so personal, and so surgical that even the bloggers who love writing dirty headlines went silent for a minute. This is not a small moment. This is Cardi B kicking the door in on a defamation case that everybody assumed was quietly settling itself in the shadows, and now she has dragged the entire situation back into the streetlight where every single person watching is being forced to pick a side. Stay with me, because the receipts she pointed to, the two different stories the accuser is being accused of telling, the $10 million headline that Stefon Diggs just called a lie to his own audience, and the message Chris Blake Griffith fired back at her before the sun even came all the way up, all of that is unpacked in the next few minutes, and by the end of this video, I promise you, your entire opinion on this situation is going to flip. Before I dig 1 inch deeper into what she said, do me one quick favor. Smash that like button, drop a comment with the words, Team Truth, if you believe her, or Team Receipts, if you are riding with the accuser, hit that subscribe button if you are new around here, and turn on those bell notifications because the second any of these three names, Cardi B, Stefon Diggs, or Chris Blake Griffith, makes another move, I am the first one bringing it to your timeline. Cool? Cool. Let us get into it. So here is where the whole thing exploded overnight. Two brand new headlines hit the timeline back to back, and both of them tried to paint Stefon Diggs into a corner. Headline number 1 was that his own brother allegedly settled a $10 million situation with Chris Blake Griffith outside of a courtroom. Headline number 2 was that the accuser supposedly had fresh receipts that were going to bury the defamation case for good. And Stefon Diggs, who has been quiet in a lot of interviews recently, decided this morning was the morning to stop being quiet. He went straight into the comments sections himself, not through a lawyer, not through a publicist, not through a burner account, and he said, and I am paraphrasing here so nobody comes for me, that the $10 million headline is completely made up. Stefon Diggs made it painfully clear that he is the one who filed the defamation suit, he is the one who dragged the accuser into court, and he is the one who has been asking, begging, and demanding that every single message between the two of them be shown in full. Not chopped up. Not edited. Not screenshot in a way that flatters one side. In full. And if you understand anything about how a defamation case actually works, that is a massive tell, because a man hiding something does not beg for the phone to be dumped in open court. Now, Chris Blake Griffith, of course, saw those comments and immediately came right back with one of those novel-length responses that this man is famous for typing out. He wrote paragraph after paragraph after paragraph, and I am going to be real with you, I am not reading the whole essay on camera because we would be here until tomorrow morning. But the core of what Chris Blake Griffith wrote was basically that he is doubling down on his version. He is still claiming that there was an elevator incident, that Stefon Diggs's brothers, cousins, and associates were the ones who came at him, and that items were taken from him during that moment. Now, the elevator situation, and this is important because a lot of you are getting the stories mixed up, that part is not really up for debate. The individuals who were responsible for that were already indicted. They already went through their trial. That entire chapter has already been legally handled outside of the accuser turning around and suing the apartment complex separately. So what we are looking at right now is not that. What we are looking at right now is Stefon Diggs saying, and I quote his general position, that Chris Blake Griffith is trying to poison the timeline by claiming Stefon Diggs sent people at him because of some rejected advance. And he is drawing a hard line in the sand and saying no, the reason there was ever any smoke was because the accuser allegedly stole from him. Period. End of statement. Now, I have to be a big girl about it and say, nobody is out here defending the idea of sending anybody to jump anybody in an elevator. That is not the point. The point is the motive, because the motive is the entire heart of the defamation lawsuit that Stefon Diggs is pushing forward. And this, right here, right now, is where Cardi B kicked the door in. Because she evidently woke up this morning, scrolled her timeline, saw how her baby daddy was being cooked in the headlines, and decided that was the last straw. Now, mind you, she and Stefon Diggs are not even in a relationship at this moment. Let me repeat that so it lands. They are not even together right now. And she still hopped on live and put her chest out for the father of her child, and the very first words out of her mouth were basically that she hates, and she said, hates, more times than I can even count. She hates that the internet has forced her into the position of defending him. Because when Cardi B has to defend Stefon Diggs, it looks like she is beefing with the accuser, and she is not that. She says her issue is not personal. She says her issue is that credible platforms and credible reporters are running headlines without doing the credible research to back them up, and she is done letting that slide. And this is where she started dropping information that most viewers had never thought about before. Cardi B pointed out something a lot of these gossip blogs conveniently forgot to explain to the audience, that when you sue somebody for defamation the way Stefon Diggs is suing right now, there is no place to hide. And remember, this is a woman who has personally been through her own defamation lawsuit, walked the audience through what happens during the discovery phase of a case like this. Cardi B said if there was a message, it will be retrieved. If there was a text, it will be retrieved. If somebody deleted an app, it will be retrieved. If somebody wiped a thread, the forensic team pulls it back out anyway. Cardi B said a man does not sue for defamation and then run from the receipts he himself is asking the court to force out into the sunlight. A man sues for defamation because he already knows what the receipts are going to show. That, right there, is the strongest argument anybody has ever made in public on behalf of Stefon Diggs, and honestly, it is one of the strongest arguments anybody has made on his side since this entire situation began. Now, here is where Cardi B went from making a legal point to making a bloody one. Cardi B started reading the accuser down to his shoelaces, and she did it without ever saying his name once. She talked about how he has told his story more than one time, and how the story shifted every single time it got retold. She pointed out that the first version was allegedly a version where he said he asked Stefon Diggs for a little help because he was going through it, and it was framed like a soft, sympathetic ask that turned uncomfortable. Then, when that version did not go viral the way he wanted it to go viral, she says the story got seasoned up and turned into something completely different and far more graphic than the original telling. And Cardi B, the woman who has been at the center of internet firestorms for a decade, looked at that shift and said, plainly, that a real victim does not update the script twice to boost engagement. A real victim tells the same painful story the same painful way every single time it is asked, because the pain does not change. That is the line that cut the deepest, and honestly, that is the line Chris Blake Griffith is probably still thinking about right now. Cardi B then took the aim even higher. Cardi B said what most people are afraid to say on record. She said the level of fixation Chris Blake Griffith allegedly has on her baby daddy is not normal. She said she has seen women be obsessed. She said she has seen exes be obsessed. She said she has never in her life seen a grown man with children of his own, become this locked in on another man's career, another man's money, another man's household, and another man's day-to-day movements. She basically told the internet that this level of interest, from a distance, from a phone, from a comment section, from every blog space he can slide into, is not the behavior of somebody who was hurt one time and moved on. It is the behavior of somebody who never let go. That is her read, and she laid it out with the confidence of a woman who has already seen this movie play out once before with her own name in the credits. And then, right when you thought she was done, Cardi B went into forensic mode. She pulled up the biggest hole in the accuser's public version of events. She pointed out that Chris Blake Griffith allegedly posted a direct message screenshot where Stefon Diggs is saying he is going to, in her paraphrase, whip somebody's behind. And the accuser tried to frame that message as proof that Stefon Diggs is a threat. But she says, if you actually scroll up in that same conversation, and remember, she says everything is online, everything is receipts, everything is Googleable, the two of them were talking about basketball. They were setting up a pickup game. The line about whipping somebody's behind was allegedly a joke about basketball, not a threat, and Chris Blake Griffith is accused of cropping the top of the conversation off to make a friendly locker room jab look like a menacing warning. She said that alone should tell you everything you need to know about what is being packaged and what is being hidden. And listen, once Cardi B started stacking the receipts like that, the whole tone of the internet shifted. Because up until this morning, a lot of people were sitting on the fence about Stefon Diggs, waiting to see which way the wind blew. But she, in one live session, moved a boulder off that fence, and now her baby daddy is walking into this next chapter of the case with a very loud, very public cosigner who is not even required to defend him, a woman who is not currently in a relationship with him, a woman who has every reason to sit this one out, choosing to plant her whole flag in the ground and say Stefon Diggs is telling the truth. That is not a small development. That is a public opinion earthquake. Now, hold on, because I know some of you are typing in the comments right now saying, wait, but if they are not together, why does she keep showing up for him? And that is a real question. That is a fair question. That is a question I have been sitting with too. So let me give you my honest read. When you have a child with somebody, you do not just get to walk away from their public reputation the way you walk away from a relationship. Because if Stefon Diggs's name gets dragged, that same drag lands on the child they share. That is why Cardi B keeps stepping to the microphone even when logically she has every right to sit this one out. This is not about a romance anymore. This is about a legacy that her child is going to grow up inside of. And once you understand that, the entire life starts hitting different. She was not defending an ex. She was defending a father. There is a very big difference. Now, back to the receipts, because she went even further, and this is the part that has the blogs sweating right now. She addressed the blogs directly. She said the headlines are misleading, the packaging is misleading, and the pattern is bullying. She said this is what happens over and over in this business. A story runs wild, a person gets crucified in public for months on end, and then when the truth finally lands, all we get is a tiny apology tucked at the bottom of a follow-up article that nobody clicks on. She said enough is enough. She said she is not going to stand by and watch her child's father get packaged the way she was packaged during her own defamation battle, because she lived that. Cardi B walked through years of her name being ripped apart before a courtroom finally validated her. And she is telling everybody now, from personal experience, that the same pattern is playing out on Stefon Diggs, and she is not going to let it slide quietly. And then she delivered the line that got the whole comment section screaming. Cardi B told Chris Blake Griffith, without ever using his name, that he does not want the smoke with her. She told him she does not stay quiet. She told him she has something for him if he keeps pushing this narrative. She basically dared him to keep talking. And listen, Cardi B has a track record, so when a line like that leaves her mouth, it does not sit like a threat you can shrug off. It sits like a promise stapled to the wall. Now, of course, the accuser saw the live. Chris Blake Griffith saw the clips. He saw the millions of comments. And of course, he did what he apparently loves to do. Chris Blake Griffith came right back with another one of those 1,000-word replies. He went into the same comment section where Cardi B had been going back and forth with fans, and he dropped a lengthy paragraph aimed squarely at her. The core of what Chris Blake Griffith wrote was that he is standing 10 toes down on everything he has said. He said he is doing this for the children he is raising. He said he is doing this for victims. He said he is standing up for himself and everyone he believes has ever been in a similar situation. And then, at the very end of the message, Chris Blake Griffith looked directly at Cardi B and told her that she does not actually know what happened because she was not in the room. And then he closed his response with what a lot of people are reading as a low-key warning. He told her, from him, signing off with his own name, to please stop saying his name. Now, hold on. Let me pump the brakes and unpack that, because this is the part everybody is glossing over. Cardi B, in her live and in her comments section replies, actually never said his name. Not one time. She talked around him. She described him. She roasted him from every angle. But she never actually uttered Chris Blake Griffith's name out loud in the space where all of this was going down. So when he wrote back and told her to stop saying his name, it was almost like the accuser outed himself as the exact person she was describing. Because if the shoe did not fit, why did he rush to lace it up? That is a question the internet is going to be chewing on for the next several days, and honestly, it is a fair question. Now, let us zoom out for 1 second, because I need you to understand the full landscape of this case before I tell you my personal read on who is winning right now. Stefon Diggs is the plaintiff. That word matters. He is the one who walked into a courthouse and filed paperwork saying, "I have been lied on, and I want a legal remedy for it." Chris Blake Griffith is the defendant in that defamation suit. That means, in the eyes of the court right now, Stefon Diggs is the one on offense, and the accuser is the one who has to prove he was telling the truth when he made his public statements. And here is the piece that keeps getting buried under the noise. As of everything that has been filed and everything that has been reported, there is no publicly known evidence that supports Chris Blake Griffith's specific allegations against Stefon Diggs. There is, however, evidence in the record that supports the theft allegation Stefon Diggs has always leaned on. Cardi B pointed that out too, and she was right to point it out, because it flips the entire evidence equation upside down. One side has receipts. The other side has stories that keep changing shape. And here is something else I need y'all to sit with for a second, because it is not being talked about enough. Every single time Chris Blake Griffith has retold this story publicly, the shape of it has shifted a little bit more. That is not me saying it. That is a pattern any thinking person can pull up on their own phone and cross-reference. And in defamation law, that pattern is not a small detail. That pattern is oxygen. Because a plaintiff's attorney will absolutely walk into a discovery deposition, lay out every single public retelling side by side, and ask, under oath, why version 1, version 2, and version 3 do not line up. And once that happens, the entire case for the defendant starts leaking. That is the corner Stefon Diggs's legal team has been quietly walking the accuser into for months, and I do not think a lot of people watching this saga on the timeline have fully clocked it yet. And here is where I have to give you my personal take, because y'all always ask. From the way Chris Blake Griffith has moved through this entire situation, from the way the story has been retold, from the way the direct message screenshots have allegedly been cropped, from the way he has slid into every blog space with a 5-paragraph statement smiling for the camera, and from the way he keeps typing novels every time someone challenges him, my honest, gut-level read on the accuser right now is that he is sneaky. And I do not use that word lightly. I mean he moves with a kind of calculated softness that is very, very hard to trust until the courtroom lays every single receipt on the table. Now, I am not the judge. I am not the jury. I am going to let the actual legal process play itself all the way out. But sitting where I am sitting today, watching what Cardi B just did, watching what Stefon Diggs just said, watching what Chris Blake Griffith just wrote back, my perception is that this man is not being straight with the audience, and there are enough holes in the public version of the story that a real defense attorney is going to have a very fun afternoon in discovery. And let me leave you with one more thing before we wrap, because it is the piece that is going to haunt this case all the way through trial. There is a very old rule in courtrooms: a plaintiff who sues for defamation, and who is himself the one demanding the release of every single message, is a plaintiff with nothing to hide. That is what Stefon Diggs is doing. That is what Cardi B pointed out today. And that is what Chris Blake Griffith has, so far, not been able to match with a single receipt of his own. And in the court of public opinion, silence with no receipts is deafening. Now, before I let you go, I want to leave you with a few real questions, because you know I do not walk away from a story without dropping the receipts and the reflection points. First question, was Cardi B right to hop on live this morning and defend her baby daddy, especially when the two of them are not even in a relationship? Second question, is Cardi B making the situation stronger for Stefon Diggs, or is she adding fuel to a fire that his legal team probably wanted to keep cool? Third question, was that closing line from Chris Blake Griffith, telling Cardi B to please stop saying his name, an actual threat, a plea, or a slick attempt to bait her into a public back and forth that could later be entered into evidence? And fourth, biggest question of all, do you personally believe Stefon Diggs, do you personally believe the accuser, or are you sitting on the fence waiting for the discovery phase to spill everything out into the open? Drop your honest answer in the comments. Do not sugarcoat it. Do not hedge. Type it out and let me read it. And listen, if you have made it this far into the video, you already know how I move. I am not chasing headlines. I am chasing the truth as it actually unfolds. Which means the next time Cardi B posts, the next time Stefon Diggs responds, the next time Chris Blake Griffith writes another 20-paragraph reply at 3 in the morning, I am the first one back on this channel with a full breakdown, receipts included. So do me one more favor before you leave. Tap the like button one more time so this video pushes into more timelines. Hit subscribe if you have not already, because we are about to walk into a discovery phase that is going to blow the roof off this entire case. And leave your comment down below with your honest verdict, Cardi B, Stefon Diggs, or the accuser, because I am reading every single one before the next update drops. That is everything I have got for you right now on this whole moment. Stay ready. Because I am telling you, the next chapter of this Stefon Diggs case is going to be the loudest one yet. And when that chapter hits, you already know where to find me. I will talk to you on the next one.